Welcome in, everybody, to another Birds of the Roundtable here on a wonderful Tuesday evening. I, of course, have the best in the business with me here. To my right, maybe? I don't know what direction it is anymore. I have Dives. Dive, what's going on, buddy? How are you tonight?
Pain. As you know, we're all watching the Sixers get demoralized here in the second quarter. But what an amazing draft by the Eagles. We're breaking it all down, grades, you name it. So, guys, thank you, everyone, for watching. The watch parties were a huge success. Thank you, anyone who watched any of those. And let's get rolling.
All right, well said. And, of course, we also have David down below. David, how are you tonight?
Doing great, man. Ready to discuss the draft picks and the UDFAs. I think they did some good work there, too, man. I'm looking forward to it.
They certainly did. And unfortunately, tonight, Shane couldn't be with us. But we wish him a good evening watching his kid play some sports. So we'll carry on without him. But listen, we wanted to talk, obviously, about the draft and some of the UDFAs. And we have a few questions that we posed to each other that we're going to talk about tonight. Real quick, though, if you are out there, please comment. Make sure that you're following along with us. Like, follow, subscribe, share this to your friends. It really does mean quite a bit. Davey checking in. Hey, fellas, still buzzing after the draft? Absolutely. I think we all are still on quite the high here as oh man, Jesus, this is getting ugly at the Sixers. But we're gonna try to move on and not care about that. But let's start in real quick with our first question of the evening, and I'll pose this one starting with Dives. I know you're a little distracted, but wanted to know, what was your favorite pick from the Eagles draft over the weekend?
This one is a layup, and I'm going to take it. And it's the fact that you got Quinyon Mitchell without giving up your top second round picks, man. Quinyon Mitchell was just a dynamic riser throughout the entire draft process. Dominated at the Senior Bowl, was unbelievable at the Combine, 4.33 40-yard dash, the second best among the defensive backs. He had a 10-yard split of 1.51, 38-inch vert. And then he's one of the most balanced prospects. I'll be honest, I wanted Terrion Arnold over this guy, but Arnold was my number 7 best prospect in the draft. Quinyon Mitchell was number 8. So it was a 1A, 1B situation. I love the way he is just dynamic in coverage. He's a guy that's extremely sticky, shifty. He's a very good tackler. He's got swag. He's going to bring some dog back to this Eagles secondary. I cannot believe he fell to the Philadelphia Eagles. The way he's able to break on the ball, knock away passes at the catch point, his instincts are elite, superb awareness for passing lanes. So when you combine the physical traits and the instincts and the athleticism, my goodness, man, he is going to start opposite Darius Slay from day one. And that was the number one mission for the Philadelphia Eagles, to get guys that can play day one. And Quinyon Mitchell was just a home run selection, not just because they got a player of his caliber, but because how he kind of just sat and this guy fell in his laps, man. It was a beautiful day one.
Yeah, no, it was. I think we were all on the edge of our seats there, waiting as the draft kind of progressed, and we're shocked at so many really good players were available at 22. David, what about you? What is your favorite pick from over the weekend?
Going next, it would be Cooper DeJean. For a lot of the same reasons that Dives just described, and Mitchell, he just fell into their laps. I mean, at pick 40, you'd almost been crazy not to move up and go get this kid. He's like a defensive chess piece on the field. Fangio is going to be able to really utilize all of his skill sets. He loves disguising his plays out there, and you can do all of that with Cooper, as he has the skill set to be used outside, inside, in the box. He's been used as a blitzer at 6'1", 208. He's got the size to match up against almost anybody on the field. He showed great instincts at Iowa with elite ball skills. He had 7 interceptions in college, returning 3 of them for touchdowns, and he didn't even allow a touchdown in coverage all season. I mean, that's just incredible production. He's also a threat on special teams, where as a punt returner, he ran another touchdown back last season. So it'll be interesting to see if Philadelphia will be willing to use their second-round pick in a punt return role like that. But I was super excited to get him, man. He can play all over the field. I think eventually he'll probably settle in as a slot safety kind of guy, similar to CJ, GJ, especially with Mitchell and Slay on the outside. But who knows? The kid's athletic enough that maybe when Slay moves on, maybe they can put Cooper out on the outside, man. You just don't know. The kid just has so much versatility and so much excitement that he brings to the team. I'm really looking forward to see how they utilize him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. John, checking in on YouTube. I wonder if the long-term plan with Jalex Hunt is to drop him into coverage and blitz Cooper, Devin White, Trot Jr. Do you think Hunt's previous experience as a safety would help him with that? Dibes, what about you?
Yeah, he was a former safety, former wide receiver in high school. When you watch the tape, that's the thing that stands out the most, I think, about Jalex Hunt, his ability and twitch and fluid hips, dropping into coverage and breaking on the football. That it's going to be really interesting to see what Vic Fangio plans for this guy. Right now, I kind of have him pegged as the Sam linebacker behind Zach Bond for the Philadelphia Eagles year one. I see him as a situational kind of pass rusher from the jump. I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. It's probably going to be like the Nolan Smith treatment, I would expect. That's just me. But the guy's upside is real. I remember we talked about this on Party on Broad, but yeah, there was a lot of talk about him. There was a lot of talk about him a couple of weeks heading into this draft, going from like a day 3 guy to a day 2 guy. And Vic Fangio likes this guy a lot. So we'll see what he's got in training camp. All eyes on Jalex Hunt and that athleticism and that rawness that he needs to develop as a pass rusher.
And like John said, his previous experience, I mean, Fangio loves that because this guy is perfect for disguising his plays too, because you don't know where he's going to go. He can drop back in coverage. He can pressure the quarterback. I mean, you can just do so many things with this guy. He probably is going to be used in an Andrew Van Ginkel type role that Fangio loves so much over in Miami as well as Bond. But yeah, it'll probably take a little while for this guy to develop. But once he does, everybody's going to be very excited that they selected him.
Yeah. Daniel, are you all going to cover the UDFAs? Absolutely. We will get into it momentarily. All right. I'll give mine. Obviously, everybody who's ever watched about 3 seconds of me on any of my shows know that my answer is going to be Trotter Jr. Not to say that I didn't appreciate the earlier picks there, but obviously Trot is a guy that I had coveted well before this draft season. So for it to all come to fruition, he slipped a little bit. So I think value-wise, I think Howie got a really good value on him. And listen, it was clearly a position of need, and they need to figure out, what's going on at linebacker, and hopefully Trotter can come in and be a part of that. I think luckily he's, a 5th round pick here. So he's not, doesn't have all the expectations of the world on him. So hopefully he can just come in and play. So that is certainly my favorite player from the draft.
I'd like to add about him. A lot of people think they just selected him because of the bloodlines and all, but it probably played a little bit of role, but that isn't why he was drafted. He was drafted because he's athletic. He displays elite awareness, route reading ability. He's effective as a blitzer at 5.5 sacks last year. I mean, he's a good player. He's not just a name. This is not a legacy pick. This guy can ball, man. The value that they got with him at 155 is going to really benefit this team going forward. This was a really good pick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of people just automatically, just assume that it's the namesake. It's the namesake, exactly. But yeah, listen, Trot originally in this whole draft process, was considered to be one of the top linebackers and was a fringe first, second rounder. Eventually kind of settled into that third round range right before the draft, and then obviously fell to the fifth round. And these things happen. Obviously, linebacker as a whole is not as valued as it once was. So I think that certainly played a part to it. And yeah, I think his size, people are a little scared, but let's not act like we've never seen a small linebacker be successful in the NFL. RW Swope, Ryan, what's going on, buddy? Are you guys only on YouTube right now? Yeah, we're having a bit of an issue with our Facebook. They're doing some sort of maintenance, so streaming the Facebook right now is not on the table, but hopefully by our next show it will be all fixed. So yeah.
Wait, anyway. Hold on. We got more comments.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, guys. Do you guys believe the Eagles' pass rush last year was not good because the team was not as effective last year, because teams prepared all week long in practice leading up to games? I think that's a loaded question. I think teams just were able to, what's the word? Get rid. There's a word for it. I can't think of it. But they were able to just get rid of the ball fast against the Eagles' pass rush and negate the, guys like Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick. And they were able to really target the Eagles' slot corners and linebackers in coverage. And once they got our linebackers going left to right, and it was pretty much over from the jump.
All you had to do was get a hot route in your offense, and you were going to kill them. And
we got slanted to death, honestly.
Yes, the Eagles never countered it in any way, shape, or form. They just
never adjusted the board.
Never. No, you're right, and I think that's ultimately what was the downfall, is the fact that we were never able to, actually counteract it in any way.
And on offense, just never adjused to the blitz. It's kind of the same shit, man.
Yeah, almost the opposite. They didn't have a hot route.
Exactly.
Oh god.
Stop watching on Twitter because I can't drop the window. Keep the video going. Teams didn't have to worry about the Eagles' pass defense, pass coverage, because they were so bad. So they all worried about and prepared to stop the pass rush, and they were pretty good at doing that.
That had something to do with it. Yeah, absolutely.
Between Trot, White, and Dean, they got a bunch of backers who can blitz. Well, Fangio blitz more. It's the same defense. I would say no.
Yeah, I would say yeah. But John also checks in. Yeah, people underestimate the effect of having a terrible secondary and its effect on your pass rush. Yeah, it's funny how all three phases of your defense need to kind of work simultaneously for it all to work, huh?
Even Chris Long says probably the biggest issue with the pass rush, and Davey says we'll be trying to figure out the 20. I'm ready to move on, man.
Yeah. We figured that out. We know what happened. Yeah, exactly. They got to correct it.
So we talked about our favorite picks from Howie's 2024 draft. Let's talk about our least favorite draft picks. David, this time I will start with you. What do you got for us? What was your least favorite pick?
I got to be honest, I really didn't dislike any of them, so I'm just nitpicking this. At pick 127, I think there were a lot of players on the board I would have selected ahead of Will Shipley, probably Audric. I mean, if you wanted to go running back, I think there was a couple still on the board. But I say that I do understand the pick. He's a very good in pass protection. He's a good blocker. You can stick him out there probably from week one in that role. He's a good receiving option. I mean, he checked off a lot of their boxes. I mean, I get why they made the selection they did. But at pick 127, when we were doing the show and I had my little list there, because I was thinking running back was probably a good time to go here. But I had probably two or three still on the board who I would have probably preferred over him. But again, I do like him. I don't want to, beat the kid up. I think he's going to be successful in his role. He does not have like a big playability, but he does move the chains. He has good vision, agility, quick burst. He is elusive in the open field once he, gets his hands on the ball. And most importantly, I think what he brings that the Eagles wanted was you don't have to take somebody like DeAndre Swift off the field on third down because he can't provide any pass protection. That Shipley will be able to do that. So it does change the dynamic that the defense has to defend, because it's not just going to be a telling sign, when they take somebody off, what the play is going to be. It's not going to be as identifiable as it was last year.
Ryan, you're muted, man.
Not sure how that happened, but anyway. Yeah, listen, feel the same way about Shipley. Dodge, we were literally live on air when that pick went down, and we started at 120, and I think, was it Jalen Wright that went 120? And then they traded back again to 127. And there was another running back there. There was also Ray Davis.
Bucky Irving.
Yeah, Bucky Irving. But yeah, I think Jalen Wright went in there somewhere. There was a couple other guys there, and I think, obviously Audric Estime was one of the guys that were still there at 127 that I would have probably chosen. But I get it. I understand the pick. I just, maybe would have went a different way. But yeah, we literally said the same thing when it happened.
Yeah.
So, Dodge, what about you? What is your least favorite pick?
Yeah, for me, I'm sorry, it's going to be Will Shipley. I fully agree. I would have loved to have Jalen Wright, sorry. And the fact that he was right there for the taking at 120, they traded out. So you look at Jalen Wright, you look at Audric Estime. I just think those are more complete backs. And like David, this is not a terrible pick by any means. I gave this pick a B, but at the end of the day, for me, it's more so about how Kellen Moore, our offensive coordinator, envisions Will Shipley in this offense. The fact that you can utilize this guy in the slot or more as a receiving threat, that's what my takeaway is from this draft pick. The fact that we're going to see more involvement from our running backs in this offense, no more going through an entire half and DeAndre Swift getting 2 touches in the entire half. This offense seemed to really hum and get into rhythm when they're utilizing their running backs in the offense, both in the run game and in the pass game. So it's not a terrible pick by any means, but he doesn't give you a lot of size, man. 5'11", 57th percentile among his peers at the running back position. 206, that is 28th percentile among running backs. So he really struggled last year. Didn't have that breakout season we were hoping to see. I see this guy as a jack of all trades, master of none kind of dude. His ability to catch the ball and return kicks, that's kind of his bread and butter. He fought through an injury all last year, which is notable. But for me, I would have gone a different route. And that's nothing against Will Shipley. I just thought it was a reach.
Yeah, a little bit. Again, I think I'll go ahead and triple down on this pick as well. That's kind of
poor kid.
Yeah, poor kid. Exactly.
I will say there is also a chance I'm completely wrong on this, which happens a lot. I
do like the player. It's just
that offense is hard. That offense with Cade Klubnik, who is so overrated as a quarterback, so overrated. I never understood the hype with Klubnik, and there's kind of a chance like Roman Wilson in Michigan that we didn't see the best of these guys in a better system. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people were kind of thinking the same thing, about the picks and what running backs were available at that time. So Marty asks, will he be running back 2? Probably not. I think Gainwell still holds that, unfortunately. But God willing, we can hope, right?
I think he'll take it over at some point during the season. This is the last year for KG. They'll run him out, and then it'll be Shipley. Be my guess, as the season progresses, Shipley will just start taking his playing time.
Yeah.
Q checks in. What up, Q? And Howie, we trust. Amen. And Jamie goes, SOS, save our Shipley. This is slanderous voice. Davey is a big Shipley fan. And yes, Buses got picked up by the Rams today. So no more,
that was cool.
No more giant killer, at least for us. So, all right, folks, let's move on to our next question. And that is, overall, what would you grade the draft from Howie? Dibs, I'll start with you, bud.
Yeah, it's a straight A. Solid A. The secondary is the biggest takeaway. The fact that you now have retooled this entire Eagles secondary, which was 28th last year, just got picked apart all season long, especially in those 3rd and longs. Remember, giving up huge play after huge play. You're adding it in a guy like Quinyon Mitchell, who is elite as it gets when it comes to coverage, should fit in really nicely as your CB2 in 2023. There's absolutely zero chance Bradbury is on this football field or even on this roster. CB2 belongs to Quinyon Mitchell. And then you got Cooper DeJean, who is a versatile chess piece, kind of the Malcolm Jenkins this team has missed for quite some time. He can play in the slot. I think he's going to either be in the slot or safety by the end of next season. I don't necessarily firmly believe in his change of direction and twitch. But that being said, he's got really good size. He's an amazing tackler. He's aggressive. He's physical. He's got a nose for the football. And you can throw him wherever you want. And just because he might not start doesn't mean he's not going to be on the football field. So those two pieces, I think, are going to upgrade the team in a big, big way. Other than that, I like a lot of the other depth pieces they got. So I give this a solid A. I was overall extremely happy, even though I kind of just shat on the Will Shipley pick. I still think he's going to have a role in this offense. So for me, it's a solid A.
David, what about you, bud?
I mean, the first couple picks is definitely an A. Howie went into the draft saying he had to get players that were going to be on the field and be productive right away, something they haven't been doing in a lot of these drafts. I think he succeeded at that. So I definitely think the rest of the draft, I kind of give an incomplete. I think Jalix Hunt is somebody who's going to need development. I think he will, but much like in the mold of Nolan Smith, I think he's going to have to develop. We discussed Shipley. Again, I'm not trying to say anything negative about him. I think he's a really good player. They're just a couple guys, I think, who are still available there. And then Aeneas Smith, I'm really intrigued by that guy, man. Like he's one of my favorite picks to see how this pans out. He has the versatility to be an above average player as a receiver, a runner, and in special teams. And he's very elusive. He creates space well. He's very tough. He gets a lot of yak too, man. For people who like to see yards after the catch, the kid is really, really tough. He's exceptionally talented at gaining yards after the catch. So I'm really looking forward to him. You discussed Trotter. I think that's a very intriguing pick as well. I do think, again, he's going to have a very small role at first, probably special teams, a very small role. And then you go to Trevor Keegan, who was a really good pick at this part of the draft. I mean, Howie admitted he was wanting an OL earlier. Thank goodness that didn't happen for all of us on draft night. But he gets Trevor Keegan later, who, he's a former team captain. He's a former champion. He's fundamentally strong. He's got a lot of tools. He's aggressive. He uses leverage well. I mean, I'm looking forward to him. Johnny Wilson's size obviously is super intriguing. I mean, you can't get a much more intriguing guy there. The guy can 6'7" and can run 21 miles an hour. And then he finished the draft off with Dylan McMahon. I think Kelsey was selected at 191, Dylan at 190. Kind of funny, both of them in the 6th round there. But I think he's going to need a lot of development as well. So to reiterate what I said earlier, beginning of the draft I think is a home run. This part I kind of give it an incomplete just to see how guys develop, but they all have the skill set, and I think they were all very, very smart picks. I liked every single one of them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna not cop out and give it a
good point.
Yes, that is a great point, and I think that's why it is an A for me too, is because they went ahead and they got 2 impactful players immediately in the beginning of the draft. They got some developmental role, athletic guys. They also got some really nice depth, please. And yeah, it's and the fact that you got an extra third, fourth, and fifth, that's huge. That's a home run for me. So I'll give it an A. I'm really intrigued to see kind of how some of these later picks develop. And honestly, I'm really, really happy with the offensive line depth that they were able to add and get guys in to Stoutland U and develop and see what you can get out of them. Again, you got a potential Jason Kelsey, a center. You got a guard. Obviously you signed Mekhi Becton right after. So like our offensive line depth right now is the best I can remember, honestly. So I'm super happy. Looks like the league saved Howie for himself with all of the runs on O-line picks.
Dude, I remember the watch party and we were all like,
I know,
about like Troy Fountain going right before the Eagles pick, and like I thought Howie would pick. It was so fun.
We cheered just as loud for that pick as we almost did for ours. I think it was more of a relief that it wasn't Guyton. Keely Ringo is still on the roster. Hell yeah, he is, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the CB depth is now actual quality, not just quantity, not just bodies. We got, I mean, think about it. You have Slay. You have Q. You have Alani Maddox. You have Isaiah Rogers. You have Kylie Ringo. You have Ricks. You have Job. Like McPherson. I mean,
Bradbury,
right? Yeah, Bradbury, Goodrich. There's a
Hall, Tyler Hall, right?
Tyler Hall.
Didn't he just get cut today?
If he did, I didn't see that. Yes,
I thought there was like
Bradbury. Yes.
Well, that would be great. So yeah, I'm love it. Yeah. All right, moving on now to the next question here. We're gonna get into the UDFAs. I'm actually gonna go ahead and steal this one first because I can, and I'm hosting, and that's I guess my job, right? Who is your favorite UDFA that the Eagles went ahead and signed right after the draft? And for me, it is Taylor defensive tackle Gabe Hall. I think this is the biggest surprise of the guys that we grabbed. That was an undrafted guy. I thought he was, fourth, maybe fifth round kind of guy. I thought he would have easily given, some really good depth at D tackle, maybe, entered into, the rotation there with Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Jomo. Like, again, they needed to kind of replace the Fletcher Cox snaps. And yeah, I think this was a great steal. And I think this is a guy that should hopefully make the team and be that next UDFA that we're all talking about. Like, oh wow, I can't believe this guy's, on the squad. So that's my guy.
He dominated at the Senior Bowl too. Amongst the interior defensive linemen, he dominated. I think one thing that may have caused him to drop a little bit because he's so lean. He's like 6'6", 290. He's a little on the light side when you look at him. Not compared to normal human beings, but on the interior defensive line.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
But he has an 84-inch wingspan too. I mean, yeah, he's the most intriguing one for sure.
Yeah. Love Gabe Hall.
Dodge, what about you? What's your favorite?
Yeah, Gabe Hall would have been my number one guy. I'll throw a nod out to McCollin Castles, a tight end out of Tennessee. I thought a lot of us expected tight end sometime day 2 or day 3. That didn't happen given the Eagles' success in 12 personnel. I thought that was a lock. And this guy, McCollin Castles, he's 6'4", 244 pounds. Initially enrolled at California in 2018, entered the transfer portal during the 2019 season, transferred to UC Davis, then to Tennessee in 2023. He had 22 catches for 283 yards and 5 touchdowns. His most productive season was in 2021 at UC Davis, and that's where he had 387 yards for 4 touchdowns. So, outside of that, I would go Gabe Hall. But yeah, he
I
clearly
think he's going to be tight end 3 on this team. I think he's going to beat out Albert, and I think he's going to beat out Calcaterra.
That's not necessarily that hard to do, in my opinion, but I hope he does, because I did actually really like him coming out. And again, was a little surprised that he didn't get drafted. Another name I will say is Howard offensive line, and Nin Dankwa. This is a massive human being, adds to the list of huge freaks that we have. He's like 6'8", 360. Like, he's just a massive, massive man. So I'm very intrigued to see him with Mailata, and just we just got such a big offensive line. I love it. So.
I'm looking for Kendall Milton too. He's kind of a big back. He ran for, 14 touchdowns this past season with Georgia. I mean, he's really good short yardage. He's always going forward. 8.6% of his carries resulted in a touchdown. He finished on a hot streak. It says he ended the year with 64 carries, 500 yards, 7.7 yards per carry, and 9 touchdowns in their final 5 games. He isn't much of a threat as a receiver, but he brings a different dynamic than what Shipley and Saquon are offering to the team. So I think Milton will probably be somebody who might be brought back kind of in that penny role. But I think he definitely has a role on the team going forward this season.
Yeah, that would be great. And honestly, we all knew a Georgia player was coming. So
I agree with this. I want to see a nice Smith. I think Smith has some juice in him in that short to intermediate range. Needs to improve his route running a little bit, but I think he's perfect for the slot for this team. And I would keep growing your young guys, and that. Agreed. Yeah, a nice all the way.
All righty. Anyway, sorry about that. I get a FaceTime at 8:30 every Tuesday, even though I repeatedly say I have a show. Anyway, next, actually, we are speaking of John Ross versus Paris Campbell. What are your top positional battles to watch out for as of right now in Eagles training camp? David, I will start with you.
It's an interesting question. I really don't. I don't see a whole lot of camp battles. I did like a quasi 53. I'm looking at it now. I think the tight end one that I was just mentioning, as far as Castles and versus Albert and Calcaterra, I think he's going to take that one. I think that there's only going to be 3 running backs on the final 53. I guess maybe it would be at wide receiver to see if Paris Campbell and Parker and Ross, which I think they probably go 6 receivers because they're only going to go 3 wideouts and maybe only 3 tight ends. 3 running backs and maybe only 3 tight ends. I'm more interested, honestly, in the camp battles are Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell versus Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Because if iron sharpens iron, they're going to come ready to rock on week 1, buddy, because that's going to be some really fun stuff to watch. And I don't know if y'all saw the quote from Quinion. They asked him which quarterback he wanted to intercept first in the NFL, and he answered Jalen Hurts, buddy, because he's all about going into practice, man. I loved that answer. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that more than I am anything else.
That's a good one. Yeah, listen, it's tough. It's so early. There's still so much time to kind of, do this. But Dives, what about you? What about your camp battle that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking right at that right guard spot. And if there was a true winner of this draft, how could you say it's not Tyler Steen? Basically, the Eagles giving him the nod that he's going to be the starting right guard on this team moving forward. They had the opportunity to look at like a Jackson Powers Johnson or something. It didn't happen. So they're clearly confident in the dude. So I look at that battle between Tyler Steen and Trevor Keegan and maybe Matt Hennessy. I don't know if he can play right guard. I know he has experience playing left guard and center. But what about throw it in the air, Mekhi Becton, possibly being groomed as a future right guard under Jeff Stoutland. So Becton, Keegan, and Tyler Steen at that right guard spot looks really fun.
Yeah, no, I think that's the one I'm certainly keeping my eye on too. Is I think it's the most unknown, honestly. When you look at everything across the board, it's got to be the most unknown position starter that we have right now. For the most part, we can tell who's going to be what, and maybe that it might not be exact, but I think right guard has to be the one that we're all kind of just, I don't know, could go a lot of different ways. And, hopefully that, that old adage of iron sharpens iron, hopefully they all just make each other that much better. And, we get the best of them. So
I think,
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm really interested to see how the safety position plays out.
They need another one, in my opinion, but
I know. So like, I made that tweet today. Like,
yeah,
imagine if they sign like a Justin Simmons and like you have the best secondary you've had in like forever, since 2002.
Yeah.
And that would just be insane. But I'm really interested to see how this safety position plays out with Cooper DeJean and the slot, and CJ Gardner-Johnson kind of being more of a slot guy. And there's just endless possibilities. That's going to be a really fun one to watch.
Yeah. Someone mentioned the off-ball linebacker battle, but I don't think there's enough off-ball linebackers on the team that much have a battle at this point. I mean, the four, Dean, White, Burks, and Trotter Jr., all four of them are making the team.
Yeah.
I don't know who else. I mean, who else is on that roster that's going to challenge any of them? I don't think there is anybody currently on that roster that's going to challenge.
What about Ben Van Summeren?
I don't see it yet. I do think he's going to be on the practice squad, but I can't see him taking one of those other guys. I mean, Trotter Jr. or Dean, neither one of them are making it to the practice squad.
No, agreed. Jeff Mosher apparently reported the Eagles could be looking to put Mekhi Becton at right guard, just like Dives.
I can tell you Mekhi Becton played high school football 4 miles from my house, so I know him. I've seen him play ever since he was like 15 years old. Yeah, he is a massive human being. I think you could put him anywhere. He's probably going to succeed. But I don't know that he's ever played that position. But if anybody can transition somebody to it, it's definitely Stoutland, and he definitely has the size to do it.
Yeah, that's a really fun storyline. I mean, look at what he did with Jordan Mailata. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
Like, it's definitely in the realm of possibility.
Well,
no doubt about it. Yeah.
You got like Landon Dickerson on one end at left guard, just a massive human being. And then you have Mekhi Becton, who's probably a little even bigger at like 6'7".
I mean, think about it. Think about that
He
whole
is
line.
6'7". Yeah.
With the exception of their center, Cam Jurgens, they're both all like at least what I think Lane Johnson's the smallest at 6'5". I think he's 6'5". Lane Johnson would be the smallest out of those four.
Yeah, Becton huge, 6'7", 365. He's got 35, almost 36-inch arms. I mean, he is a behemoth, man. You ought to seen him in high school. He just threw people around like freaking rag dolls. It was absolutely insane.
I'm sure. I
That
don't
was
like
a great signing. So and like such an underrated signing.
Such a late signing, like
high risk,
yeah.
low risk, high reward type of move by Howie.
If he stays healthy, he's going to be awesome for sure. So apparently, Davey thinks he needs to get down to 340
to play guard.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to tell him he has to lose weight. Well, not my job, but all right. Well, that's all of our questions here for tonight. Again, we're missing Shane. Hats off to Shane. We miss you, buddy. We'll check in with you next week. And who knows? We got a lot of off season to go. So if you guys want us to talk about a certain subject, or you have a cool idea for us to do throughout the off season, please send it to us. Either one of our handles, or you can always go to the Birds of the Roundtable X handle as well, or EOP, anywhere basically. Well, it'll find us. Shoot us your idea. Let us know, because we're always about having a fun time and doing some, maybe outside of the box kind of stuff. So let us know what you have.
Yeah, this is the time I cook. I love thinking of outside of the box ideas. So be on the lookout for some really fun shows. We've been doing a debate show, so we could do one of those again. And now that David's back with 4 people, I think it would be more fun. David, while you were gone, we were doing this kind of like apples to apples. Apples to apples kind of Eagles debate show. We could bring that back. We could be. There's a lot of different things that we could do. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no doubt. So we appreciate everybody in the chat. Obviously, John says if you guys could do a deep dive on our position coaches, that'd be
wow. I like that.
It's a great idea,
especially the defense. Yeah,
this will be next
roster. Yeah, this is coming for sure.
That's next week.
Yeah. So don't you worry. We'll do our first crack at the 53. I'm sure we'll do one as the season or off season progresses into the training camp and all of that. So, but yeah, we'll break down what we think might be the 53, and who knows, maybe Howie might just go ahead and sign somebody else by the time we go on air next time. But
and we got rookie mini camp coming up, so
we'll
be able to talk about that 1 week too.
Yeah, that's also very true. That's very true. So, listen, I'll throw it around the horn, guys. Final thoughts. Let us know what you got going on. Any plugs, anything you want to say. Floor is yours. Dives, I'll start with you.
On to 2025. I've covered 20 guys on the 2025 draft, essentially getting ready for EA Sports College Football in a couple months. Cannot wait for that game. So we'll be live streaming that game and talking Eagles. That's kind of our plan there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Ryan wants in. Catch us right after this. Sixers post game will be right when the clock hits 0. We'll be talking a Sixers win, hopefully. It's a 1-point game. Nope, it's now a 4-point game.
I hate the fact that you're that far ahead of me.
Really?
Yeah. Right now, it's dribbling around. So
I put individual video reviews and grades of every single draft player drafted for the Eagles on the channel. There's like over 30,000 views on those. So thank you for anyone that's watched them. So just thank you. And we're going to get into the lull period like you guys said. So if you guys have any ideas, shoot us over some ideas of what you would like us to cover. And that's it. So I guess I'll see you in about 30 minutes.
There you go. All right, David, what do you got?
I released a Meet the New Draft Pick Players for the paper today. You can follow it at my X handle at PHL Eagle News. And much like Dobb said, I'd like to thank everybody for the past weekend. I had something crazy like 3.7 million impressions this weekend on my Twitter, which is normally my whole month. So over the past 7 days, man, everybody checking out draft intel, reading everything, watching the shows. I mean, that was really, really cool to see, because you never really know how interested everybody really is into the draft until you get into it that day. And then you start talking with everybody and you see how informed everyone is. And I don't know if every fan base is like that, but the Eagles fan base sure as hell is, man. And that was really fun discussing everything with everyone, because it was, quality, respectful debates about players and everything. It was really enjoyable, man. So I'd just like to thank everybody for being involved and making it so fun, because it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely a blast. Thanks everybody who chimed in, even if you just stopped by. It really meant the world to us. Honestly, it was such a fun 2 nights. I think we were streaming for about 10 hours total. It's funny, you guys. I love you guys always talking about your Twitter. I throughout the whole process, I lost 10 followers.
Your damn linebacker takes, man. Just
I know. Listen, I gotta keep the faith. Listen, I'm not just gonna. So,
our YouTube channel is getting so many hits right now.
That's really cool.
It's so cool. But this is like the best time of year when like everyone's now finding, like more people are finding the scouting reports I did over the last like 9 months. So like I literally try to hit every single comment on all of those. And I just want to say thank you to anyone that's watched this idiot talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so awesome. But yeah, thank you everybody. Our fans are the best. Eagle fans are the best. So we obviously don't do this without you guys and the interaction that we have with you guys. So thank you guys, everybody in the chat, YouTube, Twitch, X. We're not actually streaming right now on Facebook. Facebook's having a little bit of an issue, as I said earlier, but we should be back next week. So for those who are just wondering, Dave, you appreciate it, buddy. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us. You can follow me here. I need to get those 10 followers back, so please, come on. I promise. I'm a little funny. I'm half a decent. So, and I'll talk about Trotter if you're into that. So,
remember during the watch party, Rob was messaging us like, Ryan, you like do something funny.
Yeah, he's like do something funny. I'm like, oh, you can't just tell somebody to be funny. Like, come on. No, but normally Mondays at 6, football smack talk show, and then 9 o'clock I'm with this guy for Party on Broad. Obviously tonight, Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. You can check out the best show in the world, the Birds of the Roundtable. So we appreciate you guys. We're going to pop out of here. We cannot thank you guys enough. Yeah, that's it. So for the Birds of the Roundtable, big shout out to Dives, big shout out to David. And of course, I'm Ryan. Shout out to Shane.
Go follow him. Follow him.
Yeah. Give me my 10 followers back. Thanks. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. We'll be doing a breakdown of the 53 potential man roster for the Birds. So everybody have a great, fantastic week. We'll see you next time.